If you're familiar with the brand Raw Papers, they dropped a video not too long ago on their social media called No More Tolerance Breaks, and it's the guy Josh from Raw breaking down allegedly Woody Harrelson's method for tolerance modulation, which is pretty interesting. But this video came out a little after my video on tolerance breaks being a scam, so I've just been tagged in this so many times or sent this video, and people have been asking my opinion. So I don't do a ton of reacts, but I'm going to talk about why this isn't as good as just flat out moderation and taking control of your tolerance. I don't do a ton of reacts, but here it is. Now, just real quick, I googled Woody Harrelson tolerance to see if he talked about this method anywhere else, but he must have talked to Josh from Raw about it directly because I couldn't find anything. But years ago, he did take a tolerance break because I guess he was just using it too much, wasn't modulating right. I'm not here to say anything negative. I just couldn't find anywhere else where he talked about it. Let's roll the clip.
Got a tolerance problem? Hit it with the left, hit it with the right. We're gonna knock your tolerance out like fight night.
High energy. You gotta love it. The videos didn't used to be like this a few years ago, so I'm glad they've picked up the energy. I like that high enthusiasm.
This is Woody Harrelson's modulation technique, so he never needs a tolerance break.
Except a couple of years ago. Look, I'm making jokes. You can take a tolerance break if you really truly want to. I'm not saying you don't have to. But the fix is better.
We all have CB receptors in our brain.
We do?
Keep hitting with the same amount every day, they shrivel, man, which manifests as a tolerance. It's your brain trying to create homeostasis, normality.
He says hitting him with the same amount every day. I think it's overdoing it. I think whatever he's trying to reference here about homeostasis, sure, getting into a pattern might affect your high, but I really truly think that it's just the amount and not the consistency.
We don't want normality, man. So knock it out of homeostasis by randomizing your sesh. Every day, smoke more or less, more or less.
I paused it, but the more or less, on days where you smoke more, you have to smoke less the next day because you smoked more. This doesn't really... If you smoke 10 times as much as you do on a Tuesday, you're just not going to get high on Wednesday, or you're not going to get as high as you did on Tuesday because you blew your load. That Wednesday sesh, because you smoked so much on Tuesday, isn't going to be as good.
Like this, but random. That way your CB receptors will never know your next move, and your tolerance will never win. Thank you, Woody. You rock. Woo!
Your tolerance will never win. Now, there's some good points here, but he doesn't truly address the issue. Most people are just consuming too much and too frequently. The way I talk about a tolerance fix is I usually only smoke for about a 4 or 5 hour window every night, and I take about 20 hours off. Every day I have a tolerance break of 20 hours. Now, I know that if I wake up and I smoke first thing in the morning, instead of waiting that full 20 hours, I'm not going to get as high. Now, I know if I smoke a ton on Monday and then I still wait the 20 hours on Tuesday, it might not hit me as hard, even though I waited. Now, I've tried this out before. I've done a lot of smoking. I've done a lot of weird things with tolerance. I don't know if I followed. There's no exact guidelines here, but I do recall one day I was like, what if I just smoked a ton and then I smoked a little bit and then I smoked a ton? My mindset at the time was I was just going to get way higher on the days that I smoked a ton. And instead of taking the day off, I would just smoke a little bit because I still wanted to get high. And then the next day I could smoke a ton again. But like there's diminishing returns. Just overdoing it is the problem. Doing it too often or doing too much is the problem. And there's differences with edibles and smokables. I'm mostly talking from the reference of I'm smoking and vaping. But some people, if you're doing edibles, that just stays in your system longer. So you could wait that 20 hours, but you might have needed a little bit longer because you digested it and it stayed in your system differently. But the modulation technique of just doing more and less and more and less, I've been tagged in this so many times and asked about it so many times that a few of the people I asked, well, what do you think about this? And most people are like, I don't know. It doesn't sound like it does anything crazy. But when you truly moderate how much you smoke, and how often you smoke, then you become in control of your tolerance. If you're just doing random stuff and you don't have, like, I guess a calculated approach, I want to say, then you don't know what to expect. You don't know what you're gonna get. But I can tell you from experience that just smoking more and less on some days isn't gonna give you some kind of magic fix to your tolerance and make it so that you're gonna get more high all the time. It's really just gonna make it on those days where you're smoking a lot more at random. Those are the days you're going to get higher. But if you tune into my Twitch sesh, I go live after 9 p.m. Eastern every night. I get high. I get like stupid high. I get so high sometimes I'm just like, oh, when is the last time I took a hit? How high am I? Am I still entertaining? But as somebody who smokes every single day, dabs every single day, some people, oh, dabbing ruins your tolerance. I dab every day. I hit the big old flower vapes every day. I still get blasted. That first hit takes me out, and it's because I waited 20 hours to do it. Now, I will say that the 20 hours that I wait might not be the same for everybody. Some people might be cleansed in 12. Some people might not have an issue waking baking, but there's a bit to do with like how fast you're metabolizing and how much you truly consumed and stored. Not everybody just takes in and flushes out THC or cannabinoids the same. There's different rates of things going on. But the majority of people that I've talked to who have tried, I guess, my methods for a tolerance fix, I don't even want to say it's like my method, like I came up with some kind of book I need to sell you or something. It's just, this is what I figured out in my own experiences from not being able to get high as often or as much as I wanted. I learned that if I just waited 20 hours every day, I could get blasted at night. And I could get blasted for a handful of hours, you know? Sure, if I only smoked for 1 hour and I took 23 hours off a day, I'd probably get even higher. I'd probably only need to do 1 or 2 hits in that hour where I was smoking. But I like to do a nice long sesh. So tune into my Twitch stream. I go live after 9 p.m. Eastern. If you have any other informational type videos like this that you might want me to break down on tolerance or other things, maybe send them my way. But I don't do a ton of reacts. This is just literally one of the videos I get asked about like so often. I figured I had to make a react to this one. Plus it was on tolerance, and that's a topic I cover a lot for people. Tune into my Twitch, and if you didn't see my video on why tolerance breaks are a scam, I touched on some of the points here, but this is the video that I made back in May. Have a lit day, my dudes.